The Holy Spirit was sent to help you hear Jesus clearly, but most people struggle with spiritual noise, doubt, and hesitation. They overthink. They second-guess themselves. They wait for dramatic signs, not realizing that Jesus speaks in ways that are often subtle but deeply powerful. When you learn to tune in, when you learn to recognize his voice, you will no longer walk in confusion. This is not just about big decisions. It is about everyday moments. The Holy Spirit wants to guide you when you wake up, when you speak, when you interact with others, when you work, when you rest. Jesus is not just speaking to you about your future. He is speaking to you right now. But are you aware of his presence? Are you sensitive to his leading, or are you too caught up in distractions, in busyness, in your own plans to hear what he is saying? Too many believers live in uncertainty, relying on their own understanding rather than being led by the Spirit. But that is not how God designed you to live. You were never meant to navigate life on your own. You were never meant to guess your way through decisions. You were meant to be led. You were meant to hear his voice and follow it with confidence. By the end of this message, you will know exactly how to hear Jesus speaking in your life. You will understand the barriers that block his voice, the ways the Holy Spirit reveals his guidance, and the steps you can take to walk in divine clarity every single day. This is not just about information. This is about transformation. Because once you start hearing Jesus clearly, you will never go back to confusion. Once you start walking in step with the Spirit, you will never again question whether you are on the right path. Everything is about to shift. The number one reason people miss Jesus' voice. Jesus is always speaking, but most people don't recognize it. They assume that hearing his voice is difficult, rare, or only for a select few. They believe that only pastors, prophets, or deeply spiritual people can hear God clearly, while the rest are left to figure things out on their own. But that is a lie. The truth is, hearing from Jesus is not about status. It is about sensitivity. It is not about being perfect. It is about being aware. The Holy Spirit was given to every believer, and his purpose is to guide, reveal, and teach you how to follow Jesus. If you have the Holy Spirit, you have access to his voice. The problem is not whether he is speaking. The problem is whether you are tuned in to listen. The number one reason people miss Jesus' voice is distraction.